Okay, so this is our Microsoft Word. We've done some work so far. Let's sort of build from where we've been or what we have done so far and get into working on some elements that we might need to use. So hopefully our internet is working well. Let's see if we can just get some text. So part of what we might need to then work with is the following. We get into the next section of our Microsoft Word, which is our style. So our styles help us to build a page, or they help us build content or the content of our page, which deals with some of the elements that we might want to include. So, for example, if we've got introductions, right, or headings, whereby we can say basics of a language, whereby we've got introduction, we've got background, we've got maybe examples as our main element. Let's increase so that from the back you can see. Uh, these become our main elements of our page or our document. But however, we've got some errors. So for example, if it's highlighted with a red line, it then means you can actually right click and then see the options that are there. It will give you a suggestion of the spelling. So for example, it can then tell me I wanted to put language. So if I click on language, it changes the word looking for. Uh, on the next word, if I right click as well, I can select the proper word, which is introduction, and then it helps me to get uh, the elements that I want to work with. So let's say as you are working with this, we now want to understand what styles are. So for our styles, we then need to know that each of these elements can actually have its own style. So what is a style? A style basically means we can put a, a look or a feel that we want for each element of our text. So, for example, this first element is what we might want to be our title. So we go under styles and we select title, and then it changes the look of the text or the how the text is displayed. At the same time, our introduction, we can make this a different type of style, which can be a heading 1. We can go to our background as well and make it a heading 1. Our examples, we can select it and then change to make it a different type of element. So let's say we want anything outside of heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. We can actually then come to the corner and then pick a styles section, whereby we can then look for a specific style that we want to work with. Right. I'm not sure why some of the other styles are not showing, but we can pick our styles from this section, whereby we can have more than one type of style. So Where are we at the moment? So at the same time, we can work with different types of styles to make our document look and perform differently. So what do our styles help us to do? So the moment we've got a style, we can then come to the beginning of our document and we can put a reference. So the references, they help us with our style. So if we come to our reference, we go to the table of contents. We can actually select a table of contents, and then this is linked to our style. So this is our heading one. That is also our heading one. If we select our example and mark it as heading two, it then means if we refresh our table of contents, we can be able to get a second value. So that is how we can work with our styles and get different elements on our page. So our styles help us to design and have certain elements on our page. At the same time, we can also then say, let's say we've got an image. One of our examples can be an image. To get an image, we simply go to insert. We can take a screenshot. So let's say I take a screenshot of something that is uh, on my computer. I've just taken a screenshot of something, although it might just be an image that doesn't have any information. So that's an image that I've actually inserted. Unfortunately, it's just blank and has no information on it, right? So it's part of my example. We come back to our home. We then want to have a star. So unfortunately, it's not showing most of our stars, but let's work with one element that we might be able to put as a table of contents value. So we can right click, we go to insert caption, and then we name it as example image. From there, we then go to the label and it's written figure. So we can actually put a figure, an equation, or a table. This is a figure. We can also select the position that we would want, whereby it can be below or above the selected item. And then we click on OK. And then now we have an image, or rather a figure for that image. What this then means, this is also a style. We can find this in our style. So we can be able to edit the different styles that we've got and use our styles for the various elements that we've got. It also applies to a table. So let's say we want to insert a table. How do we go about inserting a table? We go on insert, we select table, we select some table properties, and then we have the table displayed on our document. And that is what our table would look like. So at the same time, we can also right click, insert a caption, then we call it table. And then it becomes a table. I hope we are together and we can follow. Let us proceed. So that is our start. Then the next element would be our search, find, and replace. So this is mainly for editing. For now, I think we can pause the search, find and replace because we need more context or content on our document to be able to work with it. The next element we then now need to look at is our insert, whereby we find some of the things that we've spoken about and would want to have a bit of a background on how some of the things can be done. So let's say you've done your assignment and you want to add a cover page. What you simply need to do is you need to go to the beginning of the first document or the first page, which is where the content starts. You go on insert and then you select a cover page. The cover page would then be the start of your document. So you can select cover page, and then by having a cover page, it then becomes the starting element on your document. Okay, I'm not sure why it's taking a while to display our cover page, but we've inserted a cover page and we'll wait for it to let us proceed. So we've got a cover page, and this is what our cover page would look like. It's got some design where our design gives us a look where we've got the title, we've got the subtitle, we've got the name and the company address if it's got a company. And then this then means after our cover page, we've got the rest of our document and whatever content we want within our document. So this then means with a cover page, you can be able to select or rearrange how your page looks. And you can also design your own cover page, whereby you can have some of these things on the actual page. From there, we can also say, after this page, I don't want a cover page only. I can say, or before this page, I can say blank page. So I can actually insert a cover page. I can also insert a blank page whereby it contains nothing on it, or it might have something like the end of that table of contents. At the same time, I can also put a page break, which is difficult to see when you don't have any text. So a page break, we can get back to it when we've got some text on our page. The next section in our insert is our table. So we've already inserted the table and we know what that looks like. Let's delete it for now. And then let's also delete the caption. Let's work with our tables. What do our tables do? Our tables would need to know that a table works with rows and columns and stuff. So what is a row? A row is a group of cells from left to right. A column is a group of cells from top to bottom. A cell is where individual row and column meet. So for example, if we've got one cell like that, this then means this is a cell from one end of the table to the other end of the table. We call that a cell, right? Because it's just one row and one column. So this we refer to as a cell. So this will be a cell. We can also go to insert, and then we select 2 rows and 2 columns. This then means the first part becomes a column, this whole section becomes a row. So this is our row, this is our column. So our row deals with the 2 cells, our column deals with the 2 cells. I hope this then sort of makes it clear on our rows and our columns. So at the same time, outside of that, we can have a table like what we had initially, whereby we go to insert, we select table, we can select more than 1 row and 1 column, whereby we can say this becomes our column, that becomes our row. So that's how our table are structured. Let us continue. So at the same time now, we also learned that we can put a caption to our table. So what we need to do that is we right click on the corner of the table, we select insert caption, and then we call this time table, like that. And then we change the label to a table, and we say above selected item, we click on OK, and then this becomes the time table. We can also do that for this row and column table. We select insert caption, and then we say rows and columns, like that. And then at the same time now, our tables, we can also work with text around our table. So let's say, for example, this is our table, and we want to take after the table. All right. Let's see if my internet is now responding. I think I can just get this text. Right, I paste my text there. I just needed to get some text. So let's have some text. This is how you can play with some text. So if you remember, my cursor was at the edge of the table. So what this then means, this table has not been formatted to have text wrapped around it. So we can be able to right click on the corner of the text of the table. We go to table properties. Under table properties, we've got quite a number of things that we can work with. So text wrapping is selected as none. So I can select around, I click on OK, and then this then means I can wrap my around my table. So let's say I enter there, it then means with text wrapping, I've got my table in the center and my text follows around my table. So this then means with text wrapping, you can put text around your table. So this will also come in handy when you want to have some text wrapped around a table or a cell or a group of cells, etc. So that's text wrapping for our table. Right, I think we are still together and there are no questions. So I proceed. Am I right to assume that? Yes or no? Okay, some of you might get it, some of you might still need extra, which is why we have a copy of this so that if you've got questions, you can ask or go through the videos as we proceed. Okay, so the next thing we might just need to sort of round up on tables. We can then also be able to play around with our table. So let's say we want this whole section to be one cell. We can select the cell from left to right. We right click, we then select where it says merge cells. So this makes this whole section a cell. At the same time, we can also select alternate cells. We right click and we click on merge cells. So this is how we can play around with our table so that it looks the way we hope for it to look. We can also right click on the table. We go to table properties. We go to borders and shading. We can choose a different border. So let's say I select 3D. I then select on the entire table. So I put a box. I put a different style. I click on OK. I click on OK. And then I change the outlook of my table. So everything else that was there is still there, but it's now covered in a different style or perspective. But our table is not exactly the same as it was. So part of the styling of how we can work with our table. Let's also go to the first table. We can also go on table design, and on table design we can pick a look that we would want our table to look like. So under table design, we can then be able to put preset conditions on our table and be able to use our table in a slightly different manner than okay, that is our table. Let us proceed. Right. So let's get into some more information. Uh, the next thing that we might also want to learn about our insert is we've got things that we'll be needing to add to our document. For example, we might need to put shapes and charts. Our shapes are found under illustration. We've got pictures. We've looked at a picture. Nothing really changed for us. But for our shapes, we've got the following. So let's say we want a shape. I can select a shape and then actually draw my shape. My shape has a shape format where I can actually be able to monitor or change the look and appearance of my shape based on what I'm hoping to achieve. At the same time, I can also change the fill, which is the color within the shape. I can change the outline. I can also put an effect to my shape. So that is my shape feature. My shape can also have a caption. I can also put a caption in my shape. I can put a wrap text to my shape. I can edit the text of my actual shape. So that's one aspect you can work with on your shapes. I can insert a different shape. So let's say I pick that shape. I can also have it as a shape based on whatever it is that I'm hoping to design and work with and use. At the same time, the properties of my shape can also be altered, same as the outline. So if you want to work with some design work, you can then be able to actually use your shape. Outside of your shapes, we can have charts. And charts now can be various shapes and sizes and designs, etc. We can't look at all of them, but maybe we can select a color. We then put the column we want. We click on OK, and then it's supposed to design or generate a chart automatically based on whatever it is that is available on the chart that we have created. So this then becomes my chart, and this then becomes an Excel sheet that sort of creates my chart and how I would want my chart to look like. So in other words, this is my chart and how it has been structured. I can change it to suit whatever elements I might want to have. So for example, I can put 5.7, I can put 6.3, I can put 2.1, and then this then means I'm actually changing the shapes of my content on my chart, and it also alters how that chart looks and can be used. So with our chart, it simply is a record of whatever it is that you're hoping to put as part of your document or within your document. So you can play around with the charts to see what else you can work with, you can use, or you can have as part of your document. The next thing that we might also want to have is still under insert. You can put a link, right? So what is a link? A link takes us back to the previous thing that was working. So remember we said we can highlight some text. So what this means is if we go back to our class, we've got introduction, right? Introduction then links us to our table of contents. So this then means introduction and our table of contents are linked. But what if we want to link something that is not on the table of contents and we want to link it to something else? So let's say we've got our chart. This is our chart. When this is our chart, we can then be able to say before our chart, we say example here, right? So we're saying example here is this chart. Before we get to example here, maybe we come to this image, right? So we want to link the image to our example here. Okay, so let's get that work. I'll try and be slow enough so that we can follow along. Example here needs to be linked. So for us to link example here, we might need to make it a heading. So we select example here, we make it a heading 1. That's the first process. The next process is we come to our image, which is this one. We then right click, and then we say we want to link this image. So we select link, and then in our link, we then have existing web page, place in this document, create a new document, email address. So we want to place in this document. And then place in this document, we want to go to a specific element. So the elements that we will then find are headings. And with our headings, we've got introduction, we've got background, we've got examples, we've got example here. We've also got bookmarks. So if we've got a bookmark, we can be able to use our link there. So if I select example here, I click on OK, it then means the moment I click on this image, it should take me to example here. Let's show how that works. I press Control on my keyboard, I click on my image, it takes me to example here. I will repeat that same process with a different element. So we're saying we can have elements in our document that we can link to other elements within our document or to any other object outside of our document. How can we do that? Let's say you want a person to then say, create new document within your document. So you are designing this document and you want to create new document. So you can highlight this, you select a heading 1, and then a heading 1 exists. The next thing you want to do now is you then want to link this to a create new document. So you then go to where it says link, and then under link, you then select a different perspective, create new document, and then you name the name of the document that you want it to be, which can be new file. You click on OK, and then because we've clicked on it, we've created a document called new file using our create new document element. I'm hoping we are not too lost. If we were ever on the same